you a soft end. Pause.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. He did slide in a good. Yeah,
Oh, I'm angry. I'm angry with
he was
your
late
mother
too.
and father, Sparks.
What?
I'm angry with your mother and father.
Yeah, well, they have a social life.
I
I
don't
don't.
care. When
I
I'm
don't.
coming to town, you tell them cancel their plans.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
they wasn't home. Damn, you had the house to yourself.
Yeah. And instead of inviting a lovely lady over, you know who I invite over? This fucking like 9 of his friends.
Our friends.
I know. And Chris Brown.
And Chris Brown.
Nah,
he didn't mess
friend.
up anything at the house, did he, Emilio?
No, I love Chris, man. He was very sweet. He helped in the kitchen, man.
Yeah, he did. He did say he was chopping the tomato,
but then he wasn't feeling so good. I kind of felt bad. But that's what happens when you can't handle the crown.
Yeah.
When you,
I don't know how much he had to drink, but I imagine it was a lot. He was drinking all Friday night.
Sparks, how was he inebriated, intoxicated?
I did not think so. He was hanging out, telling us about his wrestling journey that he wanted to get on, and
True.
He was chopping tomatoes with me. I was telling him the art of cooking garlic and using olive oil, and
he said something about the garlic. He did. I don't. Is it allergies? Like, was it a problem with garlic in his system? I can't tell.
That shit was fire. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Sparks cooked this shit up, yo.
Quick too, real quick.
The thing is, it was quick. It was quick. You know what I mean? You know when we get into conversing and all that shit, it doesn't matter how long it is, right? So Sparks get to cooking. He pull out the first go round,
right?
By the third go round, this shit was amazing. Like, yo, you should have gave us the third go round first.
Damn,
that shit was amazing.
Well,
I ain't gonna hold you.
You know what it was too, is because I made a little bit more, and then I put it on top, and then we let it sit because we were just shooting the shit. So it was just like, you know what? So now it has time to absorb within the pasta,
right?
And it was just easy, man. Like, my favorite dishes are dishes like that, like big home style. Family comes over, we eat, we laugh, we just have a good time, man. And I love that. That was probably one of my favorite like nights that I've had in a very, very long time, man. And besides, it was just good to see like you guys, man. Like, we were overdue for that anyway.
That's facts. That's facts. So when you come into Baltimore,
I don't know. My production schedule is getting busy again.
I hate this nigga, man.
I like making money. I like making money. Is making money such a crime? Yes. I am a red-blooded money-making machine in the podcasting space.
When I was doing it, I was wrong.
I don't know what you do for a living.
It doesn't matter.
I can't say what you do is right or wrong. I can't pass judgment on how a man makes a living to put food on the table for his family.
I'm a red-blooded money maker.
Yes, you are.
That's
yes,
what I
you
do.
are.
I get ducats.
A nigga like me, man.
What I'm saying is, when you come down here, I'm not cooking nothing. I'm gonna just take you to the carryout, right?
Which is fine.
You can watch them cook it.
I'm good. I'm good on that.
Let him sit in the back.
Well, we had the thing. We discussed it the last time you guys were on Wrestle Rap. That we were gonna eat some pasta, and what better way to do it than doing it here? Now, next time when you guys come through, we got the grill.
When you come through,
Earl Fam will chef it up. Earl Fam, Earl Fam, your cousin, Earl Fam.
That's disrespect.
How is it? It's not disrespect. Well, I get it's. Again, I will say this. What's his first name? Earl. What's his last name?
Know.
Fam. You put it together. Earl Fam.
When I met him, his name was Il Fam.
Il Fam. That's cool. I guess
that's how it works.
That's what my uncle told me call him.
Yeah.
That's what you call him from here
That's what I call. No, I'm good. I like to call him what he said he's comfortable with. I was like, hey, are you good with Earl Fam? He's like, absolutely. You know what?
It's not like
he's consenting.
But he doesn't say don't say it.
No.
He has.
No, he hasn't.
When? Has he said it on record?
No, he said it through me.
No. See, because I
don't know. He sent me the message.
Yeah, okay. You're fucking full of shit, dog. You're so full of shit. Get out of here with that.
Hey, what kind of glasses are those?
Rose colored, because that's how I kind of want to start seeing the world.
Oh,
like, I thought you were undercover for a second.
No, it's just
sabotage.
Really,
it's a sabotage.
Oh, can't stand it.
Look,
I actually think the Beastie Boys are straight trash, though.
Really?
In terms of identity in hip hop, yeah. I mean, I don't think they had the greatest bars. I think they were. I think they were. You could say that they were the early godfathers of nu metal to a degree, because here's the deal: you never heard them on Hot 97.
That's not their fault.
You're right, but I mean, it's also like they
had some big records. They had Paul Revere. They had Fight for Your Right. They
was
had
there Hot 97 in?
Yeah, I was going to say, what was the format of, like, what was the format at that time? Because I know a lot of stations, the white boy stations around me loved Beastie Boys.
Of course,
they loved the Beastie Boys.
Come on, K-Rock up here was playing all of that.
But even like college kids, like because they fucked with a lot of college kids first heard Tribe through Get It Together.
Right.
And that record played everywhere.
Right. But also, too, a lot of the college kids, let's keep it a buck, kind of look like the Beastie Boys. So that's why they were playing it on the college radio shows.
I was hanging out with the Beastie Boys, essentially. But damn.
I just that's how I think of it, though. There's nothing wrong with them. I think they're great, but I think they're overrated. I think they're overrated. No, Sabotage is hard. Brass Monkey's hard. Fucking
crazy.
Paul Revere's hard.
Crazy.
Right.
They got bangers, but in terms of like hip hop, honestly, I know they were a punk rock trio and they were trying to get signed for years before that happened. Before they really blew up. So it was just like, all right, we're gonna go to this because this is the new way to get in. And at that time, it was just Run DMC and LL Cool J to sign to Def Jam, and there was nobody else. So they were like, you know what? Let's be the white boys that are gonna come in and spit some rhymes. Middle America's gonna love us. They weren't bad. I'm not saying that they were.
I really thought the Beasties represented what hip hop was, because it was like it was honest. It was gritty.
Right.
And it was like party to the max. I thought that's what it was. It was hard beats.
But I want to say,
I thought that's what it was.
It was true to them too. Like, it wasn't like they were Vanilla Ice in it. They weren't. They were still when they first, like throughout their whole time. They didn't front. Like they knew that they appreciated this, but they also knew that they fucked with George Clinton or fucking Puma Clyde sneakers and like all the other shit. Like I was always interested like the Grand Royal side, where they just pulled kind of everything in and said, hey, this is I don't want to say this is how you be cool, but like here's a bunch of cool shit you may not be on.
Right. I'm just looking at it from the context of, what and how and positioning. Now, maybe it was different. Maybe it was a New York thing, I've never, and Hot 97 never left my dial on my headphones or in my car later on. So to me, it was a New York, it's a New York staple, dog. Like, granted, it's changed over the years, but
you hop in a cab, it's just on.
Yeah, like, so I don't know if I can enjoy, like, and say, oh my God, hip hop, they're incredible. You know what I mean? Like, but for like their contributions to the music world, yeah, they really did some cool stuff with sampling. I mean, Pass the Mic has a really dope sample with the flute stab. You know what I mean? And that's James Newton's Choir. So it's kind of like, like there's good samples. Like, they've never not had a bad sample. Sure Shot is a perfect example of that. Like, they're good. They had Mix Master Mike, for Christ's sake. But I just never thought like, in regards to,
you couldn't do a Beastie Boys mix.
What do you mean, like me DJing one?
Yeah.
Oh, I could do one in my sleep.
Of course he could, because there's that many hits.
And it should be hard too.
I'm gonna say they are underrated. I'm gonna say they're underrated.
In terms of what though? What are they underrated on?
God damn it, Sparks!
Let's have the real
because
conversation.
that was a segue
Look,
well said. Okay.
Hey, trust me, we locked and loaded. We locked and loaded, baby. Don't worry. Because look. I'm not going to call somebody a brass monkey, but like, look, I'm just saying we locked and loaded. But I think the thing is it a situation where these people are? We're talking Beastie Boys. We're talking Taz. You know what I'm saying?
What a day.
It's one. Is it a situation where maybe they were too future for the time frame that they came that they were? Because I mean, we're in a situation where, again, I said I was locked and loaded.
Yeah.
The whole reason for this.
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, that's a good. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm glad that we're doing this because I know we're all ECW fans at that time too.
But I think we need to talk about it though. Is it if we're talking about giving flowers, there's a reason why they weren't given?
Oh, absolutely. Listen, I'm just saying their contributions are huge, right? But I don't look at them as and this is just me. This is my personal preference. My opinion does not matter. This is these types. I know it does. These types of debates are all subjective. So we can have these types of discourse because this is what you want to have. But I know that for me, they're not because they're not even when I don't know if you know this. I did a 10-year bid at Sirius XM.
Oh, I was ready to say. I thought you was going to say Sing.
Like for what?
Yeah, the boomer.
My uncle did though. It was
crazy. Leave him out of here. Leave him out of here.
But yeah. but there was never a Beastie Boys record programmed into Shade ever.
I get it.
So and we had the gamut of everything from literally like Cold Crush and even like earlier stuff like that programmed in. Like, you know what I mean? And none of my DJs and all of my DJs, I mean, you're talking about like Tony Touch, K-Slade, Drama,
Touch,
Static.
Really?
Yeah, none of them were playing Beastie Boys.
No,
Touch would do more break beats, which I loved. Tony Touch doing break beats.
Word.
Incredible. And like he would do like 45 minutes of just straight breaks. And you ain't getting better. Same thing with Premier, just straight breaks sometimes, samples. DJ Thorough and Scram Jones, two of my favorites, would actually take the sample, play the sample, then speed it up or slow it down depending on however it was chopped. And they would live mix this and then add in the actual track.
That's why I hate because that's all TikTok now. I'm like, motherfucker, I've been hearing cats do this for years.
Yeah. So this ain't new to me. Like to see these cats do this. So like that's where I base it from because I worked with a lot of heavy hitters. Now I've never had the discussion with them about the validity of the Beastie Boys, and everybody would say the Beastie Boys are legit. But do I consider them in hip hop? I mean, they're like you could say it, like a Limp Bizkit and a Korn, and a Deftones. They have elements. They have elements of at some point they're adding distortion to their songs.
That's how it all started.
Right, because of Rick Rubin. So so my thing is this, and this is how I judge it again. I'm just gonna go straight on radio as a kid. If you're on K-Rock, right, and I'm hearing you on K-Rock, and Kane is playing your music, and I'm not hearing it with Angie Martinez or Fat Man Scoop or Big Dennis.
At a certain point,
I don't even know who that.
There are staples in they are all staples in New York radio, whether it was rock, whether it was hip hop. Like even to this day, you're not hearing back in the day joints on Power 105 and it's the Beastie Boys. You're not even hearing them on 94.7 The Block.
You don't think that's a case of them being the white guys on the block? Do you hear Eminem on any of those?
Of course,
any of those.
I was good because you said Shade. I was going to ask if it was a mandate.
No. Well, no, not him. But there were records we couldn't play the game.
Of course, there'd be
couldn't play the game. Like there was Freddie Gibbs couldn't play Freddie Gibbs.
Damn, probably still can't play Freddie Gibbs.
Yeah, you still can't play Freddie Gibbs.
I play Freddie Gibbs on my Apple Music at home.
Right.
Yo, that's interesting, yo. I thought the Beasties were were one, and it's Def Jam.
But wait, I think that,
but early Def Jam.
It was very. I will say some of that stuff is hard early too. But I was going to say that I think what Sparks is saying about so many DJs at one station, but like really like across the whole hip hop aren't playing them. It kind of makes them underrated because I think if you sat and went through the Beastie Boys, because they're when I was in college, that 1 year I went to college, it must have been 2000. They dropped the greatest hits release, and it's like 20 some, almost 30 songs. At a certain point, I'm like track 23. I don't give a fuck about this, but there's solid 15, 16 cuts. They're hard.
They were signed to an independent called Rat Cage, right? Now, Rat Cage was predominantly, and they only had a couple of releases, but Rat Cage was predominantly more rock based, right? So the Beastie Boys were a punk trio for a while. Then they switched to Def Jam in '84. But if you go back and you listen to Pollywog Stew, which is their like independent release on Rat Cage, you're getting a completely different sound. Completely different sound.
Well, they're old as well.
Well, but I will say this too. Part of that, RIP MCA.
Yeah,
some real shit. Yeah. I think a lot of that. Well, I think a lot of their progression was charted by him and the way he shifted musically. Because not to say that Mike D and Ad Rock weren't talented, but MCA, it felt like he was really that driving creative force behind a lot of the big swings that they would take in their sound. I always appreciated that stuff. I was gonna say too, Math, I wanted to ask, did you watch a lot of MTV growing up?
Only when it was rap.
So when I probably saw a lot of Beastie Boys then.
When I caught the Beasties, I'm like, yo, who the fuck are these white dudes rapping?
Right. So what was the song that you were listening to? Because it couldn't be you weren't listening to Cookie Puss thinking, yo.
It wasn't
it was always Fight for Your Right.
Fight for Your Right. That was probably the first one. That was probably
I think that's Def Jam's first pop song. Because I think that was the one. Look, I think that was the one that pushed Def Jam into like other types of radio stations, and it was giving them the pop appeal where I think at first there was no real concrete identity coming into hip hop because it was still in its early phases, and Def Jam still was it. It was the only. It was the only, right? So I think they were trying to figure out what is our sound with the label, who are we as a label, and what acts do we want to represent us? Because they had at that time the real spitters in regards to LL Cool J.
We talking 6?
Def Jam started in
84, 85.
84. So they were, and then the Beasties rose to predominance from 84 to 87 with them, and then they moved to and then they moved to Capitol around like 88, and I think they've been there ever since. But so I don't know. I think it was just like we don't have an identity yet, so let's pull from a homogenized like music industry already. So we want pop, we want a little bit of rock influence. All right, we want these motherfuckers from the Midwest and these corn like cities to really start to rock with this, because we don't know if their moms and dads are going to allow them to have black music enter the household. So how can we infiltrate their minds? Oh, I got it. Let's get 3 white boys from New York City who's wearing a Mercedes-Benz and BMW like logo around their neck.
That's hip hop. That's not. They didn't put that together, Sparks.
I think it's somebody told them, hey, listen, you're gonna wear this. You're gonna wear this hat, these sunglasses, and that thing, because you know what?
They were in the scene though, because again, like you said, I think the one thing that you got to remember, because we're talking New York. If we're talking New York and talking early hip hop, the punk kids and the hip hop kids all together. So I think
it depends on the context of punk though, because there was how like it can go It can go one way, man. When you're talking about punk rock music, it can go one way. Like,
but again, I think because I think just because of the circles they rolled in. Again, if you're with a Rick Rubin, but if you're an MCA, you may want to go see the real hip hop. So I think they had a knowledge of, all right, they wear this, they have chains, but they're supposed to be the goofy fucking white boy prank. They're dancing like this and shit. Like, they're gonna try. It's like part of that is it looks crazy, especially now. I think if you just send that video, put it on TikTok, so there would be kids like, this cultural appropriation, and look at this minstrel shows or whatever the fuck they would say, and they just locked up the fucking NFT who said nigga. And somebody made him in a computer. Right. Like, imagine what they would do with the Beastie Boys now. It was,
I think if they came out now, it would be a completely different marketing rollout. You would not get what you saw how they dressed then. But I will say this: they were true to themselves, whether or not it was
the Island Boys. It would be the Island Boy.
No, I think they would be, honestly, I think you would get that homogenized version of whatever Machine Gun Kelly's doing now.
No, stop it.
You would get, but probably with better instrumentation and musicology, because listen, the Beastie Boys made great albums. Yes, but are they hip hop? But to me, are they hip hop albums? I don't know.
After a certain point, no.
I think everything after.
It's like hip hop plus.
I think right, but I think everything after License to Ill was the game changer. I think once you start listening to Paul's Boutique, I think it changes from there, because then you can go to Check Your Head and you can go to fucking Ill Communication, bro. Right. Those are not prototypical.
Right.
I will say the five boroughs, they started to go back to more of an urban route. But I say, though, the albums that we just discussed, I can't see them being that. Like, I know they released that like 2 CD anthology, The Sound of Science.
Yes,
I know that. I know that was, that charted well on the hip hop and R&B charts. But again, like, they've also crossed over and went to rock charts. Right. So I don't know, man. I just think it's a mixture of both. I'm not discrediting them, but I think they lean.
Total discredit.
I think they lean. Probably. I think they lean more towards rock, because rock stations were playing them heavily, right?
But
like rock stations. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I'm hearing them. I'm hearing when K-Rock was K-Rock.
Sabotage was a big record.
Sabotage was all over, bro. This is what K-Rock would play. Okay, this is what they would play. Paul Revere, Brass Monkey, Sabotage. So What You Want?
Yeah.
And they would play Fight for Your Right. And
insane.
And they would play Fight for Your Right. Oh no, I love So What You Want, but So What You Want? Yeah, of course.
That video was hard too.
It was, but again,
green,
right? But what's the drum beat though? It's just literally, and then but what's the right? And then what's the bridge going into the chorus? That's all rock, bro. That's a deviation of just like punk.
Yeah,
I think
it's.
But let's not get it twisted though, because especially around like 98, 99, then to like 2000, it was very like Eminem was now on K-Rock as well, but it was like there were certain songs in Together Now with Limp Bizkit and Method Man was only on Hot 97. K-Rock was playing that too, but that was more. But again, I guess because of Limp Bizkit, it went there, but it had meth on it and it was a primo beat.
Yeah.
So like I didn't really hear Hot 97 gravitate towards that. Certain DJs would play it, Flex and C and like a couple others, but K-Rock, that was in rotation. So again, the lines are blurred at that point, but again, I consider them the godfathers of what would become new metal, because they were mixing both at a time when hip hop was not commercially known yet.
When
because all you
metal,
had.
What do you mean? What do you mean by new metal?
New metal. It was kind of like, do you remember that big trend where they had DJs and rappers in a rock group?
Come my lady, come my lady.
You're my butterfly.
Yeah, all that shit. Yeah.
Wait, that's
new metal.
All that shit.
Stop it.
That's new metal. Yes. If you look up, let's look up what new metal is, right? Let's look up what new metal is, right? So new metal.
Oh, that's an actual genre.
Yeah, and new metal.
So here's what by definition.
Yes.
By definition, here's what new metal is. Okay. This is just on a Google search. Korn, Limp Bizkit, Deftones, Linkin Park, System of a Down, POD, Slipknot, Disturbed, Papa Roach. Now, I think Slipknot is not. I don't think System of a Down is. No. I think Deftones definitely are. But Deftones have also changed their sound like 7 or 8 times. Yeah. I love Deftones. My favorite band. But really? Oh yeah. But I've seen them like 4 times. They're incredible.
I like the Chili Peppers. I'm sorry.
The Chili Peppers are great too.
There's literally a sentence in here. Beastie Boys are a hip hop music group that influenced new metal. But there's also a lot of people who cite the Beastie Boys as an influence, along with Tribe and
which is like that. But which is dope. Like, but again, just subjective to me.
Right.
That's all that matters.
Well, it's because I think you're right. I hate the thought, but it's mostly because I never looked at them as that lynch because I never listened to that shit. I never cared about that new shit. So and if there was stuff that I don't know what records that they were more influenced by, but I imagine some of the we may not have the same because they went one way with it, and my mind goes another way with what I'm listening to.
That's fucking crazy. I didn't even know that was a genre. So there you go. New metal, nigga. I thought you made the shit up on the fly.
No, I wish I did. I would have been a very, very rich man if I
God
did.
Bless you.
But here I am.
Here we are.
Again, with you talking about Taz and the Beastie Boys.
What?
We ain't even get to Taz because you cut me short.
Well, is the first place everybody saw Taz was in ECW?
Oh yeah, for me, yeah.
What version of Taz are we talking about?
Well, I Tasmaniac first.
Yes.
So I seen that.
That.
Yeah, that.
Because he I guess it was supposed to be like the Tasmanian Devil because Tasmanian Devil was popping.
Yeah, on every single T-shirt.
Nigga ate everything and shit. He talked like my father.
Did he ever cut promos? I don't remember if I ever heard.
I never heard him cut a promo, and then him and Sabu, him and Sabu wrestled, and then that's to me when. That's just curly hair. That's just curly hair.
He ain't related to Alpha now.
No, he's Italian. He's Italian.
So you gonna claim him?
No, he's been claimed. I mean, he said that he's Italian.
I forgot me and Taz, we share a birthday. I forgot about that. Me and Cardi B share a birthday.
Wow.
Anyway, but no, I think this was the era because at some point they were a tag team and then they were feuding and Taz got injured, and then he came back and it was once he was ready. It was game. It was a string of just him killing opponents, right? Like he would just go in there and straight tap them out.
Yeah, that was the reboot because when he was the Tasmaniac, he had a real legit injury. It was a tag team match between Too Cold Scorpio, D Malenko, and he had a spiked pile driver was delivered to him.
Yes.
And he didn't properly protect himself at the time. And it's on the rise and fall of ECW. And he talks about it. He goes, I landed right on my forehead and jacked up my whole neck.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, and the neck injury, he said, Tommy Dreamer said was bad. And now again, I don't know the validity of that because if you're saying it on the thing and Tommy Dreamer's putting you over and you're saying it too, how he walked out of the hospital and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But, he literally had a neck injury. And then he comes back, he shaves his head, and you see who he is. Now he was making appearances with the Steiner brothers. My friend, big shouts to Mike Brown, gave me the entire run of ECW, all the original stuff with all the original music. So I've been sitting and watching that. And
Did
It's
that
incredible.
come from that? Did that revelation come from Chris Brown's brother giving you those tapes?
No, the revelation came from that clip of him versus Tajiri, and I've already. So I already thought he was so dope to begin with because he was a driving force, right?
Yes.
Like that brother had an aura that was completely different from anybody else in that organization. You know, now sometimes, he gets a bad rap for being too serious. He was perfectly serious. Like that's the type of intensity.
He gets a bad rap for that?
I think so, because people sometimes think like, oh, he took it too serious, and
there's stories about it.
There are stories about it. Yeah,
there was I read a Bruce Pritchard thing where he was trying to he was combating it because he was saying that he was throwing people up, and then people, I don't know if they weren't ready for him to be using the type of force that he was using, and he was basically like, hey, you can't do that with Austin. And it seems like Taz felt the way about that, having to kind of pull back because he'd been wrestling like this for, however long. Yeah.
Well, also too, like they were ECW was very, very outlaw. Like people like to call GCW a mud show promotion.
Right.
Well, then what the fuck was ECW back then?
Oh no, it was definitely mud show.
This was hard.
You know what? That was a hard pick. To me, Steiner Brothers, greatest tag team in all of pro wrestling.
Ever.
LOD. Ever.
LOD.
I will find the match and I will show you where LOD was trying to stiff arm these dudes, right? And Big Papa Pump was not having it, right? Throws him around, boom. Then they tried with the dog face gremlin. Bro, he dropped Hawk right on his head. Light as a feather the whole match after that. Because LOD had a reputation. You think Taz had a bad reputation beating the fuck out of people in a match. Right. LOD, when they were the Road Warriors, Road Warriors, when they were still wearing black, the black leather pants that I was wearing at Wale Mania.
You were wilding.
It was a fit though. It was a fit. The Aqua 8s. It was
Sparks OD.
It was a fit. What was I wearing when I was cooking the spaghetti dinner?
Was it better than this? It was better than this?
I was wearing vintage jeans I copped from 1993 that were ripped. And my Travis fragments.
They were bootleg. They were bootcut.
They weren't bootcut. They were bootcut. In 93, there was no such thing as a boot cut. In 93, that was just what it was. They weren't boot cut. Boot cut
was cross colors.
You bugging, bro.
So hold on. First of all, I hate when Sparks got his head down and shit, and then he want to tie the shit. Like, stop that shit. You knew we was coming. Don't do that shit around me no more.
I wear my head down, bro. But I can't cook. I can't cook with my hair down because then you should never have it down. Exactly. Listen,
tied up.
Listen, my mother taught me the right way, bro. Like I knew you were watching me too when I was cooking. Like when I tested the sauce with the spoon, I tested it and then I put it in the sink. Like you caught me washing my hands several times. Yo, I'm a neurotic, B.
Make sure you wash your hands. He said, yo, we don't do that around here. He was like, yo, we wash everything around here. I'm a fucking germaphobe. All right.
Bro, I was cleaning while cooking at the same time.
You were. You ain't gonna listen, you never gonna hear a word from me. You never gonna hear a word from me. Shit, you made a spaghetti dinner for 19 motherfucking people. Facts. I had 6 plates, yo.
Did you eat
a big ass Tupperware?
Did you eat the to-go? Did you eat the to-go plate?
I did. Did I eat all of it? No, motherfucker. Yeah, I did eat some.
It was like 2 pounds of extra macaroni.
It was 16 pounds of food.
It was good though.
Like, yo, what the fuck I'm gonna do with this? Anyway, I was gonna ask y'all about Taz. Pardon me, it's a wild ass transition. Was he the first person to start the tap out?
Oh, as a thing to make it
as a thing.
Oh, I don't know, man. That's a good question. I don't know. I know in ECW, yeah, we can say ECW, but yeah, he was probably
the first Alfonso specifically, yeah.
Yeah, I think I think once he partnered with Fonzie, he started
95?
He started to by he like Holiday Hell, he had the new look and style.
Right.
Yes.
That was like a little before that, because that's the TV title, right?
A little before this.
A little before that, because the TV title was created a little bit before his feud with, well, it was maybe a year before his feud with Shane Douglas, and that's why it was because Douglas was injured for a majority of the year as he's champion, and Heyman, being smart, said, I can't take the belt off Shane Douglas because he is my franchise player. I can build a dope pay-per-view around him and Taz, so I'm just going to let them cut promos, keep themselves keep them keep them completely separated.
Yeah.
And then once they do come together, we can build it to this crescendo and we can have the title match. And it worked.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Super smart.
So if I'm not mistaken, Cal, can you throw up the tweet one more time?
Yeah.
From Sparks?
Yeah.
I was under the impression you were saying he was underrated.
I think in terms of wrestling, you have to start having the conversation that he does not get the flowers of how good he is. He doesn't. Like ECW was this. You want to talk about, like we talked about homogenization with punk rock and hip hop with the Beastie Boys. Let's talk about homogenization in ECW. You had several different styles. You had lucha, you had catch, you had, with catch/chain wrestling, you had that hardcore shit. I mean, you had straight up Japanese wrestling. So you had to be so good and so adaptive with every opponent, right? Because that's what you would see. Like ECW was to me, I did not love the hardcore stuff, right?
No,
I but you give me when the Japanese wrestlers were coming over, or you were giving me like Psychosis and Rey Mysterio,
classics,
like, or Guerrero and Malenko, and they're having this like craziness, and you're having Jericho, then sign me up, man. Like, yeah, it's very rare that for me to like enjoy the barbed wire match between Terry Funk and Sabu. It was cool.
Because they stink.
Right. Or no, not that they stink, but it was just like Terry Funk, he was always a punch kick guy.
Right.
Like Terry worked some, but at a point that was literally the style.
Yeah,
it was no like
it was everything.
It was everything. So like, whatever. But to get to what we see with ECW specifically at that time too, like it was all different. It was, you had to, and so him versus Tajiri to me, and at this point that's peak Taz. That is peak Taz at like his prime. You do not get
peak Tajiri.
Yeah. Well, Tajiri was coming into his own a little bit more. Like he had like another year until like he became the Japanese buzzsaw and he could fucking do it all. Like, but again, around that 95 was when he started doing the human suplex machine stuff.
Yes.
And he was doing the Kata Hajime, which is the Taz mission, where he was causing the opponents to tap out. You know what I mean? Like, and it was dope because he would either have them nod their head or vocally say yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was dope. And then he was having matches with like dudes like Perry Saturn, who again, Perry Saturn does not get the credit. He's another one that does not
underrated.
Get super underrated. Yeah. Super underrated. But then if you watch November to Remember in 95, that's when they really start to put over Taz. Legit, so Joey Styles, literally like him and Heyman really start to just go. And they put it
switch, and it was all Taz.
Who was that against? That wasn't Sabu, right?
I
turned heel.
So here's the deal. So in that pay-per-view, Taz demands Sabu comes out to face him. Right. And like the crowd started to go crazy with that, right? Then the officials came out, pull apart, lights come out, Sabu's up there, like pointing like this, and then he's across the ring from Taz. And then like that's when the first time they were able to wrestle each other. before early 95, and they lock up, lights go out, and Sabu's gone.
Yeah.
It was dope, man. It was cool. But like even then, like during Sabu's match where he teamed with RVD to face the Eliminators and the Gangsters in a 3-way dance, Taz comes out, attacks Sabu. But Van Dam saves Sabu, and like they, and then again another breakup, and like they continued to do this no contact thing for literally like a year. It was
like a year.
It was well done, man. Then he became world television champion, and then you're off to the races from there with him. So.
It was that was the run he lost to Bam Bam Bigelow, right?
Let me think. Did he lose to Bam Bam, or did Bam Bam beat him? Because I remember there was a spot where they went through the ring. Right. But what did he lose to Bam Bam?
He lost that match.
He did.
Yeah, he lost that match.
Okay. All right. Because I'm still thinking of everything that he did with Sabu. So then they wrestled when did they wrestle? Did they wrestle at WrestlePalooza?
That was before. Yeah, that was before, because they wrestled for when he was the FTW champion.
Right, and then later that night at WrestlePalooza, he becomes world television champion, and he beats Shane Douglas for his second reign.
Yeah.
And then I think he was television champion throughout all of 97, and then I right, because so wait, let me remember this. So you're right, because in November to Remember, he wanted to face, or he was cutting a promo to face Bigelow, who was champion, and then they would meet, and then after Bigelow turned on Taz in a match against Shane. See, that's where it gets it gets foggy for me, because if you watch Living Dangerously, they have their match. But Taz would lose the title. You're right. Taz did lose to him at Living Dangerously. But at November to Remember, they were like trying to do this. Like their storyline sometimes would go all over the place in EC.
Correct. Hell yeah.
Because they've been going on for forever. A lot of
it went on forever.
And you never really got to see it, because it's not like how it was now. I don't think ECW could thrive the way it did now.
No,
because you had months of storytelling for TV that was on for a first 30 minutes,
right?
Then an hour.
But wait, but the other thing, because you couldn't even get it on regular TV. I was watching it on one of several Philadelphia. It was whatever Philadelphia station. It wasn't Sportsnet or whatever, because I didn't have that. Whatever Philly station played other random Sixers games, they would play that Tuesdays at 6:00. And because the key thing you said was you had all of the collection with all of the original music, because Heyman was playing Sabotage. If that was a hot song on the radio, that was going to be the montage, the 5-minute montage at the end of that episode. It just wasn't what it was.
Heyman had Lance Storm at one point coming out to El Phantasmo and the Chicken Head Runners Blastorama by fucking Rob Zombie at one point.
That's funny as shit.
So and that record goes hard, man.
That's
like
funny as shit.
Rob Zombie makes perfect wrestling theme song music, and he don't even do it on purpose. He just knows when to hit, like that 30 seconds in, you got it, because that's when they come through the curtain and they do like the whole pop and circumstance. But yeah, no, man.
ECW theme song. Who did the
Oh, that was, I think, Harry Slash and the Slash Tones, I think.
Yo.
Google that, Cal. I think it was Harry Slash and the Slash Tones.
You might be Rain Man.
If something crazy comes
you
up,
really might be Rain Man.
All over,
out, dog. Harry Slash and the Slash Tones. Who?
Was it? Cal, was that right?
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, they did a lot of Harry Slash produced music for Extreme Championship Wrestling. Their best known songs are the ECW theme, This Is Extreme, Taz's theme
song, yeah. Da-da-da-da. Well, that was a playoff, because Taz was originally coming out to War Machine by Kiss,
right?
So
to remix it a little, yeah.
Right. So you would hear in the beginning, "Survive If I Let You," and then he would come out to da-da-da-da. That's the opening riff to War Machine from Kiss.
It's like
like, you better watch because I'm the war machine. That's fucking Kiss, bro.
Yeah,
big Kiss guy too, by the way. Big Kiss guy.
He's probably a Kiss guy.
Of course, he's Italian from Brooklyn, not a Kiss fan.
Yeah,
brother. I guarantee you, if we ever had Taz on the show, he would come on and say, like, yeah, bro, big Kiss fan.
I'm almost positive Sparks has Jarvis in his glasses. He don't really know this shit. That's Jarvis doing that shit.
He's got
maybe.
This man.
Get the fuck out of here. Sparks.
I'm just
we're off.
I just
today.
drip, man.
We're off today. So
off till Monday.
I'm gonna ask you this, you and Cal, because it's said that Raven and Tommy Dreamer is the greatest feud in ECW history.
Okay.
Taz, where does Taz and Sabu rank in greatest feuds in ECW history?
You know, that's a good question. I say Douglas and Taz is better than Sabu and Taz, just because of the emphasis of the ECW championship. And it was so important because it was held to, because Douglas, I think Shane, listen, his mouth would get him into trouble. But at that point, Shane Douglas, man, he was so good. He was so clean. He was so professional with it. Like, his bumps were always crisp. And it led to, in my opinion, the most highly anticipated world title match in ECW history at Guilty as Charged.
Well, I think that's kind of it's kind of that thing where I prefer Sabu and Taz, because when I was, I don't say my hype, but when I was really into this ECW shit, like, that was the match I wanted because I fucked with the two of them. But I think Douglas was the one that really put ECW on his back before he made it extreme. You know what I mean?
True.
Comes out, wins a title tournament.
Trashes that bitch. Dennis Carluzzo at that point, who I think was running the NWA at that point. All right.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys that Jim Cornette will fucking suckle from the teat when he bigs up Dennis Carluzzo.
You gotta relax.
And I'm not a Cornette guy, bro.
Don't get us canceled. Hey, what the fuck?
That's crazy.
Shots fired, man.
When you edit our show, edit this.
We edited?
No, because this shit is under an hour.
Since when is Cuz starting to bite the tongue?
I know, right?
When do you put a muzzle?
I'm trying to get paid.
This is gonna be on the Patreon.
So you getting paid regardless. What is it? The one dot? What is it? The one club? You throw up the ones.
Mind your business.
Pay the 1 and pay the 10.
Pay the 10.
They should be paying the 10 since I'm on here.
Anyway,
like you said, birthed a lot of sons.
You got a lot of. Listen, it's a lot.
I know there's a lot of sons out there. I know. Dad doesn't get. You want to talk about not getting the flowers? Dad don't get the flowers.
Hey, you're gonna get a lot of ties next June. The ugly ties too.
That's fine. I'll wear it like Cliff Huxtable did in that episode of the Cosby Show.
You're gonna get us canceled. Stop this shit,
bro. The Cosby Show is great. Come on, man.
Stop bringing up people that's gonna get us
canceled. Reference. That's a great reference.
You're not wrong. Salute to Taz again. You know, I don't know if anybody's giving you flowers.
Salute to Eunice Chantilly.
Yo,
we out.
Get him out of here, yo.